Folks, get ready to be inspired as we welcome a true catalyst for success in the startup world. Joining us today is Subramanian Srinivasan, fondly known as Subuu, a virtual CEO, independent director, and business coach. With a passion for mentoring startups and enabling their growth, with over 30 years of corporate experience, including leading European multinational companies, Subbu brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the table. His journey from the corporate world to entrepreneurship has equipped him with valuable insights on strategic scaling, organizational change, and the power of happiness coaching. Today, we dive into the secrets of Subu's success as he shares practical strategies and best practices that will empower aspiring entrepreneurs and ignite the ambitions of youth startups. So, grab your seat, take out your notebooks, and get ready for an engaging conversation that will inspire you to conquer new heights in your entrepreneurial journey. Welcome, Subbu, to our YouTube channel.
Hey, thank you, Sonia. Thanks. There's a great opportunity for me to be here and share. Thanks a lot. Let's go ahead.
Welcome, welcome. So, Subbu, could you please share with us your personal journey from being a corporate executive to becoming an entrepreneur and business coach?
Sure, Sonia. So I'm sure a lot of viewers or listeners are going to be, relating to this. When you get into corporate, your one thing would, if you're very aspirational, you really want to be a CEO of a company. That's how you start off. And I also moved very fast in my career. I could work. I got the opportunity to work with two multinationals when I was in the. I was more into the engineering and capital equipment space. And in my tenure with Mettler Toledo, I was reporting to a sales boss, and we had a great relationship going on. And he actually got me to uh, look at the next level of CEO when he was going back to Switzerland. But when he came back, he said, "This is not happening, Subbu. There is you need to we have more international exposure." So that's when a new manager came in, and somehow I felt that I should try and do something different. So I got into starting my own company called Waybill India Private Limited, and it was a journey that taught me a lot of things. I started with literally no money. My father actually loaned me an office from his savings, and I ran the company successfully for 18 months. Okay, but as most entrepreneurs would say, in those days there was no startup funding, there was no bank big loans coming up. Okay, I'm talking about 2003, and I came to a point where I sold my house, I sold the car that I had the last try to fund the company, and I was like at the wit's end and said, "Hey, I don't think it's going on." And you'll be surprised. A lot of people close to me, including my mom, would say, "Why are you struggling so much? Why are you so stressed? Why don't you just get into a job? There, even if it's paying you less." But an entrepreneur knows how it feels to be an entrepreneur, and that's something that I stood. And luckily for me, there was a call from the German company, which was my principal, and they made a proposal to buy me over, and I could sell my 1 lakh worth of equity at a phenomenal price of almost 3 crore plus. And I
Wow.
never looked back in life. I mean, but I came back to being in corporate. Okay, and after almost again 20 years, I'm back into being an entrepreneur because I'm working in between a lot of entrepreneurs. And the pandemic gave me about 18 months to get certified to be a coach because I felt the need for every entrepreneur. On the other side, I needed a coach very badly. Somebody who would stand by me and guide me at every step and say, "Hey, Subbu, this is something that you can look at." And being with me in those very moments where I can share my deepest concerns. Normally you can't share it with your family, with your friends. They can't relate with you, but with a coach, I think that relationship can be established, and that's what I think brought me into this whole space. Yeah.
Super, super. So, what are some of the key lessons, Subbu, you've learned during your transition, and how did it shape your approach to entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So, if you ask me, the one thing that I learned is, success happens at the last mile, and this is the message I want to give to all the viewers. And don't give up. If you
Mm,
have a dream, don't give up, because I knew that there is an external force that's going to guide me and bring me to success. And I was running every week with a little bit extra money, with a little extra money, trying to spend less, even cut down as essential costs as possible to extend the company's life a little bit more. And
mm,
that's when success happens, guys. Keep your thing on. The next thing that perhaps I didn't do well, in my opinion, was cash management and projections. Financially, many entrepreneurs, shy of looking at their balance sheets. They're scared, perhaps, to say how much money is left back. But you need to know this to be able to manage your company really well and plan at least, 6 to 8 months of cash flow kept in advance. You do. The third thing, I think I had only plan A with me. Okay. I'd
mm,
never had a plan B or even a plan C. Plan C can be even to exit the company. Okay. But I was working with plan B, and as I said, there was no business coach or mentor, So have three plans. Plan A, which is your biggest dream. Plan B is what if something fails, if it's not on track. And plan C is always an exit strategy, which is a very smart strategy so that it doesn't hurt your lifestyle, doesn't hurt your personal health, and so on. Yeah. And the next one, I would say, take care of your team, because you take care of your team, the team take care of the company. So as a leader, spend a lot of time on the business and not in the business, taking care of your people and
wonderful.
training them, getting them to learn more. Because every time, and they get retained because they know that you care. Today many entrepreneurs have a challenge of retaining people, and
Yes.
if you are caring for them, that's going to work. And the last thing I would like to add, which I think is very important,
Mm,
select the right people, okay, and then train them, but and then trust them. Many entrepreneurs are not able to trust and hand over and delegate. So get the right people and train them, trust and delegate. This is what I would say would form a great combination for success.
super, super. Subbu, what motivated you to support startups and SMEs, and how do you find fulfillment in mentoring and enabling their successes?
Yeah. So if you look at my journey during this so many years, as a CEO of a corporate or as a startup entrepreneur, see, at the top, you feel very lonely. There are a lot of things that you have to take a call. The sword is finally above you. The buck stops with you. You can't pass the buck now to anyone else. You normally, like when I was a CEO of a European company, I used to report to the board, and the board decides, your next 1 year extension of contract or whatever. Or if you are as an entrepreneur, you need to be sure that you have a runway for the next 1 year or 2 months. And what I learned through this whole process, when I decided that I want to be an entrepreneur myself, I said, what do I choose to be? And whatever I thought this thing would be, whatever I learned all these years and experienced myself as a entrepreneur, as a corporate, employee of a MNC, I thought that's the best thing that I can give. And when I joined BNI, I joined BNI is by the way, Business Network International, which is a global networking organization, one of the best in the world today. And when I joined BNI, I was looking for suppliers for my Italian company. Okay? I didn't, but I realized through that experience that most of them, they were just in the doing, never into the planning stage, never into a visioning stage, never into thinking scaling. They would used to they used to run the days and not plan the weeks and months and years ahead. So that is one thing that I learned from being a part of European and German companies. They do this extremely well, and that's what I thought I should give back. And that's what I said. I have something valuable to give to the people through my hardcore 30 years of work experience. So that's what I'm doing right now, and it gives me a lot of pleasure to see
Wonderful.
people gain out of that. Yeah.
So, can you explain the concept of virtual CEO and its significance for startups and small businesses?
Yeah. So when you are a small startup, you come from your personal experience, what you have learned in your either your corporate experience or from your let's say, many people start with an entrepreneurship at a very young age, but they
Mm,
never seen the insights of a corporate. They've never seen the benefits of a process being laid out and driven in organizations, And uh, so I came up with this concept of being a virtual CEO, because if a small entrepreneur or a startup has to hire a professional CEO, I'm sure they need to pay a crore plus kind of salaries, if you want to have a really good one in your company. And I think 99.99% wouldn't ever do it, can't afford it. Uh,
mhm,
Also, after having spent 30 years, you normally get a bird's eye view of a company very fast, and you begin to say, I can support the company by looking at the balance sheet, by you understand the market. You have a lot of contacts that you build over these years, which can be of use to these SMEs and startups. And I thought that that's a good combination of what we could deliver to these SMEs and startups. So in when I was, let's say, in my entrepreneurial journey, one thing I always felt is, hey, I would love to have somebody who can help me with contacts into organized retail, because my products are going to organized retail. It was very difficult to get into the high level of decision makers and management in these organizations. And
mm,
there, let's assume I had a virtual CEO who would say, hey, I could connect you to DMart, or I can connect you to Shoppers Stop, or bring some value by way of connecting to bankers, or bring value by way of, financially reorganizing my company, helping guide us. I mean, that value coming at, let's say, even these kind of people, even you spend 2 days a month with the founder or CEO, it becomes very valuable. And that's what I do right now. I offer my service as a virtual CEO for 1 day or 2 days, and that 8 hours or 7 hours that I spend with startups would help them to bounce their challenges, would help them to bounce their ideas. We do some brainstorming and stuff like that, and coming out of that is a more clearer strategy, is a more clearer roadmap for the startup. And I'm sure instead of paying a seven-digit figure, you pay a fraction of it and get help from somebody's experience. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there like me who can offer their services as a virtual CEO. I would encourage them, because they work in organizations, learn a lot, and that value is what we can bring to a lot of small entrepreneurs, at a low cost.
wonderful, wonderful. So, how do you assist entrepreneurs as an outsourced CEO, and what value does it bring to their ventures?
Yeah. So if you have, I don't know whether you check my brand name. My brand name is CEO Mitra. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So I start by living the brand. That means we want to be a friend to that startup entrepreneur. Okay. And I think in his journey, what he requires is not somebody who gives him gyan, somebody who tells him what is wrong, what is right. He needs a friend by his side. I think so, and that's where our brand name, CEO Mitra comes in. And when we step into a company, what we do is we don't try to change everything. Okay, we first walk along with the entrepreneur. We look at a simple thing like, for example, lead generation. Okay, first we put a process in place for generating leads. Now, I know, for example, even with very large companies, they don't have today. Digital marketing is what is going to drive. If you're not doing digital marketing, you're out of business. I'm sure about it. Everybody understands that today.
Yes.
So, but today a lot of depends on salespeople, going and doing cold calls and stuff like that. Still exists in a lot of small entrepreneurs, and they hire people who are, very low priced, low talented, not trained. So these are going to be not producing results for the organization. So that's where we come in. We show them how and what impact these kind of new age strategies are going to have with their to impact their businesses. Okay. So that's one thing that we do a lead generation through LinkedIn, through various other sources. We have I run a executive search company along with Antel International, which is a global executive search firm. We are one of the franchisees. So there we bring in some of the best talent for startups, and startups have got budget constraints, number one. Okay. But then how can you package your company if you as a startup owner, you are convinced that uh, you know uh, you have a big future, so you can always package your let's say offer to a senior professional also with ESOPs and make him a partner into the company. So we do assist in these kind of let's say identification of talent, so that they bring value and they can grow the company faster. Alone you cannot walk really far. You can walk a little bit fast, but you cannot walk far. That's clear. We do pitch deck uh, pitch decks for companies. Now, pitch decks are not making a presentation. It's not a corporate presentation. And there are a lot of people who go to a chartered accountant or a financial consultant to create a pitch deck. But a pitch deck actually, if you see, really needs a commercial and business outlook, which means that it needs somebody who is not only understanding the numbers, but it needs somebody who understands the competition, who understands the opportunity in the market, who has that level of understanding of how your product can impact the market in terms of business volume. Okay, and so it is not about numbers. So that's the pitch deck part that we create, where we help also improving the strategy of the company as we go along. Okay, we fine tune the approach, and that helps the entrepreneur quite a bit. Of course, we do the valuation so that they get the right price in the market. Most people underprice themselves, in my opinion. Okay. Also, when they go to investors, my recommendation always is, if you're at an early stage, they should look at multiple investors, not just one investor, because then you are being asked what you're doing, and that's micromanaged and so on. It becomes very stifling for an entrepreneur to work in that environment. And I also run personally, I think the most important part of any organization is the human resource. I always have been telling to my team members that if all the people stand out of the company, and you have the best of buildings, you have the best of products, you have the best of technology, it's of no use. Okay, you need to put the soul inside the body, which is what people are all about. Now, how much do you focus on managing people? A big company, they have a huge uh, CHRO, they have huge departments to run this, and they run very complex HR organizations within their companies. What about small SMEs? I mean, if you really, what my experience is, people normally hire a MBA from out of college at 25,000 or 30,000, but you as an individual have still got to drive that HR vision in the company. And you need to be compliant, if you because I've seen a lot of people, they forget the compliance part, and then suddenly the authorities are at their desk, and then they are full. And when they are needed out there to grow, they are engaged in a lot of messy stuff that happens at the back. So that's one piece that we take out of an entrepreneur's bucket of tasks. We completely do the HR retention. So end-to-end retention we take over, and we charge a monthly fee. So that again is something I thought is very valuable. Thanks to my, having worked with global businesses, and also having the BNI network behind me, I'm in touch with a lot of global leaders today, which helps me bring distributors. For example, we are focusing right now on Japan. And if you look at Japan as a country, they are extremely good at a lot of technologies. But when you look at IT, okay, I repeat, when you look at IT, they go to Vietnam, they go to Thailand, these Indonesia, because one is they can't speak English. They have a big challenge. Unlike even Europe has transformed from their local language to English, a lot of people, but Japan is still having a big challenge, and that's where we come in. We connect you to Japan. We also, I have footprint in Japan and in Europe both. So we bring those technology that you need for you, if you want technology from these countries, or if you want to sell to these countries, that is also a great possibility. There are a lot of products that India is making today, which everything around yoga, for example. A lot of organic products, a lot of health, nutrition, and so on. Japan is a very health conscious country. Okay, so IT and let's say health related stuff, I think Japan is a great place to uh, partner and do a lot of business. So if you look at, just to summarize in total, I would say that we walk along with the guy who owns the company, and we say, what is it that you want, and we are here to help you. So we use our networks, we use our knowledge. I collaborate with several experts in the industry to bring the right solution for the company, and that's what we do. So being a friend, I think, is what is my goal.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, could you highlight some specific challenges faced by startups and SMEs that you help overcome through as your role as virtual CEO?
So I'd like to highlight three things that I've commonly seen. Okay, one is technology tie-ups and collaboration beyond borders. Okay, that's something that I think is can be very useful to a lot of SMEs, because when SMEs start up, they only think about doing business perhaps around their 50 kilometers maybe, and then they say, okay, let's look at 100 kilometers. But the price, let's say, challenge that they have to compete locally can be very big. If they have very good quality, if they're producing something really valuable, they must looking at export borders, because the price realization is much more. Okay, that is one area where I would strongly recommend looking at a virtual CEO concept, whether it's me or anyone else. It should really look at somebody who can bring that value. The other one is to streamline your financials. I think that's something that a lot of people are missing when they are setting up their own company. So we are talking about starting with first a projection of cash flow, starting with budget and comparing it every month, even every week, getting on Monday morning. Imagine you get a statement. You need to be able to automate this. Okay, a lot of people don't spend money on this critical element, and at the end of 6 months, they suddenly their banker comes and says, "Hey, you use your overdraft." Okay, now what? Okay, and we need to remember that a lot of these money is coming from mortgaging their family properties or their homes and stuff like that. To fulfill the dreams, SMEs and startups, they do whatever needs to be done, and that's perfect. It's not wrong. But are you tracking? Where are you? How much money is left over? What are you? How are you going to utilize that? Tracking helps you to. It's like you measure your health. You stand up on a weighing scale to say how much am I weighing today. Okay, so that's as you need to do that at very regular intervals. And the last thing, in my opinion, is challenge yourself to understand whether this product is good. Is this concept that you're creating is good? Is it going to find markets only in a small space, or is it going to be across the world? I would always recommend that start with a global, vision in mind. You may start local, but at least the vision has to be: can I take this product global? Because then win the quality, you win the regulations, the certification. You're starting to think different, and your product value actually goes up. What you sell at 100 can be sold at 120, and the 20 is actually going into your bottom line. So I strongly recommend that people look at these three things, which are today I see missing, and that those challenges people must take up. It's a difficult thing. It's like eating the frog, okay? But they should face this challenge and get it done. Yeah.
Great. So, what are some common hurdles startups face when trying to scale up, especially, and how do you recommend overcoming those hurdles?
So I look continue from my earlier what I've said. Having a global mindset. I think people scaling means what you need to first have an idea to which is expandable, which is scalable. Yeah, you don't get into a quick me too kind of product and then try to make it a little bit better. Okay, even if you're doing that, you have to be known for something very unique, right? Like for example, I like to bring that Samsung example that they brought the foldable phone. Okay, now a lot of people are copying it, right? But Samsung had this 2 year advantage. I think they made a lot of money out of that. They priced the product really high and they skimmed the market. So ask yourself whether you have, that kind of a product that is scalable. Okay. And you should also know that very soon there are going to be people who are going to be doing a Me Too kind of product, and they will do it better than you, maybe many times. Okay. So I'm sure if Apple comes and brings up something like that, they will do it even better than what the others are doing, because they have that technology, they have that mindset, and so on. The other thing which entrepreneurs have noticed is, I know everything. I don't need help. Yeah. So they tend to run on their own because somewhere I think they don't trust people around them. They don't like to partner and collaborate also because they still feel one experience of their life where they got taken for a ride becomes the barometer. Okay. In fact, it should be a learning exercise that what went wrong at that time and how can I change that in this new collaboration. So collaboration is another thing that I strongly recommend. Okay. And the other thing that I think, don't wear so many hats.
Mhm.
I've seen entrepreneurs wearing multiple hats, So uh, a good way is to trust and delegate, hire people who have that capability that you don't have, and clearly trust and delegate. I mean, you may go wrong, right? But you would go wrong even more if you don't have a team and if you don't delegate, right? So you don't have that ability to even uh, put your time into more important things if you're
Mhm.
doing everything. Yeah.
Yes.
And you know sometimes you need to self reflect into yourself and stop and say, hey, what could I change? Okay. this I mean, when I talk about change, I also know a lot of people are very reluctant to change, but change is the only real thing in life. I mean, we have had so many disruptors like the pandemic, or you have had the demonetization that has disrupted a lot of businesses. But
Yes.
what if we can uh, be at least somewhat prepared for disruption? What if we can be somewhat be thoughtful about having a second product in line or a second business in line, which can be totally unrelated to what you're doing, that. So I'm talking about plan A and plan B again. So that's
Mhm.
something that I would strongly recommend, that they should. These are hurdles that normally come: the environment, the government. They're going to put a lot of hurdles on your way. They that is their job. They keep doing that day in and day out. Yeah.
So, Subbu, in your experience, what are the key areas of focus that entrepreneurs should prioritize to optimize their turnover and profits?
So when you're talking about turnover and profits, we are talking about numbers very clearly, right? So what gets measured gets achieved.
Mhm.
At the beginning, I would always ask, get your team together, put your vision and values in place. Okay. Now, coming out of that starts a team which is working on a goal. It could be a monetary goal. It could be a deadline related goal, because many companies say, okay, first year we just get the product ready. So there won't be maybe a turnover related goal. But I'm saying that have your goals in place, have with timelines, and keep measuring them. I'm a fan of measuring my MIs, my company own MIs, weekly, monthly, quarterly. The second thing I would ask is that don't be alone. The concept of getting a team in place, and the team having the ability to decide on most of the stuff, okay, is something that I strongly recommend. And these are companies like Netflix and Hire, which are actually into this kind of thing. And if you look at the concept, it says that uh, you build a team where the team delegates within them. They plan, they come up with a turnover. Like if you're going to tell the team, let's do a 5 crore turnover this year, yeah. But what if the team is not engaged in that at all? You're never going to achieve it. Even if you dream of any figure, if the team is not driven into that idea and bought into that idea, they're not going to. Look at the other way. They decide a target, encourage them to be more, not just be conservative, but be more optimistic, more challenge, take up more challenges, train them to make more challenges, tell them that they can fail and nothing is going to happen to them in the company. Okay, people should fail, they should learn out of it. Every failure goes into a learning experience. So uh, you really come to a place where people share every day their challenges, learn from each other, and the goal achievement has to happen. But still monitoring that
Mhm.
every month, every week is very important. And the last thing is, uh, I think many people don't put an ear to the floor to hear what's happening with competition. The competition is real, okay? And keep your door open and listen to the market, listen to your people, listen to your friends, and your coach, if you have a good coach, please listen to him. That's my input there. Yeah.
Great. So, Subbu, please tell us more about your role as an investment enabler and your efforts to secure funding for startups.
Yeah, so I'm part of a couple of networks. So I personally I don't focus so much on only giving the only getting money for people. That's not my prime thing. But when I take up a role as a virtual CEO, I become a part of their company. Okay, for me it becomes like I'm equally responsible for their goals. And if there is funding needed, I would love to get them connected to my network, where I have left several people who are connected to angel investors, to serial investors, and so on. And yeah, I think uh, you know many entrepreneurs, they shy of bringing external investment, and that's where I come in and I tell them why they should have external investment, that it is good to have, and not just to build on your unsecured loans or low secured loans. I know of people who pay huge interest. I don't want to mention the numbers, because that means there are people in the market who are not being honest, actually. But unsecured loans at very high prices, and if your business is not giving that kind of return, just to run the business and keep it going. And if your idea is good, you must go to an investor and have a great pitch deck. So I work along with them to create the pitch deck, to help them in that strategy, get them into the proof of concept. Okay, and when they are in the right place, when you already have a proof saying that this is a great idea, that's a success story, I work with them to get the investment. I make sure that they are fronted to investors. That's what I do.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Subbu. So, finally, Subbu, what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs who are just starting their journey?
Yeah, that's the so I would like to keep it very short. Okay, today the startup market is very tough. If you're thinking that you can get money fast, it's I know of several startups which are investors who are getting money back when they see that the going is not good. They're trying to tell their investees that please hold on, freeze, let the money come back. Okay. Also, I think there are some big players in the market who have not gone the right. The companies have not gone in the right direction. I don't want to name them, but and that has created a lot of insecurity even in investors. Yeah.
Mm.
So one is you should have a unique idea. Make sure your idea is great and unique. It solves a problem that is unsolved. Okay. Have great clarity on go to market. This is one thing that I've noticed, that entrepreneurs, their product, their service is brilliant, but they don't know how to go to the market. The marketing part of that whole story, is very weak. And of course, build a great team.
Right.
If you don't have a team, you're not going to go far. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Great. So great, Subbu. As we come to the end of this insightful interview with you, I would like to extend sincere gratitude for sharing your valuable insights and expertise with us. Subbu, your knowledge and experience has definitely provided a deeper understanding for the intricacies and challenges faced by startups and SMEs. And we encourage all our viewers to connect with you for any further guidance and support. Your extensive experience makes you a really invaluable resource for anyone looking to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship and drive their ventures to new heights. Once again, thank you, Subbu, for gracing us with your presence and sharing your expertise today. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Sonia. Great opportunity for me also to talk to you. You are a very pleasant and nice person. Thanks a lot. I enjoyed talking to you. Thanks a lot.